Today we're going to be talking about my number one favorite topic of all time, and that's saying a lot because we're going to cover a lot on this channel, but if you're not focused on this topic, you risk absolutely bankrupting your personal relationships, your professional opportunities, and really overall your success in life. So with that as a little bit of a hook, let's roll the intro and get right to it. Alright guys, so my name is Jonathan, and on this channel we cover a number of different topics related to success in life, entrepreneurship, business, family, mental health. We cover all sorts of different topics, but today we're going to be talking about my number one favorite topic of them all, and that is mindset. Now this video is not just going to be standalone. We are going to be covering this topic in a series of videos that are going to come after this one. So if you enjoy this one, I would absolutely love for you to subscribe. You're going to get the updates about when I release new videos, so I'd absolutely love to see you along for that journey. Also like, comment, all of that good stuff. If you'd like to follow me on social media, that's rad as well. Social media links will be down here somewhere, you can find me. But I wanna get onto this topic because really it is so important. And I can't stress this enough. The employees that I have, the people I've seen in my life who are successful, the people I've seen in my life who failed, family members, all sorts of different folks, really their success or failure comes down to their mindset. So before we get too deep down this whole rabbit trail, I want to talk to you about what is mindset? What is a mindset? A mindset, if you look at the dictionary definition, is an established set of beliefs about something, right? About yourself. And when we think about mindset, really there are two different types of mindset, just categorically, that you can have. You can have a fixed mindset or you can have a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is one that is more kind of like the term sounds, right? It's you believe that you're born with certain talents, certain skills and abilities, and you really can't evolve outside of that. Now with a growth mindset, you believe that you're constantly changing and evolving, and so the person that you are today may not be the same person you are tomorrow. Now that's so important to start with those fundamental and kind of foundational beliefs, because if you have more of that fixed mindset, you're really limiting yourself. You're trapping yourself into staying with the skills and abilities that you have. And people who have this type of fixed mindset, even though you might be listening to this and you might be saying, oh no, I absolutely have a growth mindset. People though who have a fixed mindset will say things like, oh, he got lucky, or oh, he was born with that skill, or things like that. They have this perspective on life that the talents, the skills, the abilities that you're given are not something that you grow and not something that you work on, but rather something that you're given. You're kind of predisposed to them, right? Someone with a growth mindset is thinking actively of ways that they can not only grow in their skills, their abilities, their mental capacity, but really they're looking for ways to consistently evolve as a human being. And I think this is so important because we've reached a stage in history and in life, I think, where the biggest evolution that we're going to be having now is a mental evolution, right? We need to understand how our mind works better. We need to understand how we can have a better relationship with ourselves so that we can impact the world better. And there's so much pain and there's so much suffering going on in the world right now. We need to take personal ownership over our own lives, over our own minds, over our own mindsets, so that we can make the difference in the world. So with that as kind of a foundational structure, let's go ahead and talk about how to have a better mindset. Now, if we're in the category of having a growth mindset, if we're starting in that place, we need to understand how are you going to get to the next place and how do we overcome maybe a negative mindset? Well, for me, the number one thing that I've seen not only impact myself, but impact family, friends, coworkers, employees that I've worked for or who have worked with me, the number one thing is their relationship with themselves. And it comes down to a mindset about yourself. And this has everything to do with the stories that you tell yourself about yourself, right? We constantly have this little voice in our head that's talking to us and, either confirming or denying things, right? We have this little voice in our head that is telling us to go do something or not, or to be excited about something or to not be excited about something, right? And that voice can oftentimes be our worst enemy. Everyone talks about having haters, right? Like all sorts of different funny things that we can talk about, with someone having haters or not. But I think it's ironic because the biggest hater for the most of us is ourselves. We actively talk negatively about ourselves, and this can have a tremendously negative impact on how we feel about ourselves. And again, that mental state that we're in when thinking about ourselves. Now, this is so important because how we think about ourselves will heavily influence how we allow others to treat us, the environments that we put ourselves in, and the opportunities that we try to pursue. So imagine this. If you are not even pursuing an incredible opportunity, how do you think you're even going to get there, right? If you're not actively pursuing being successful, how do you think you're ever going to be successful? You know, if you want that job, you've got to actively pursue getting that job. If you want to go date that girl or that guy or whatever, you need to actively pursue them. Stuff in life happens when you actively pursue the things that you want. And so if we have a limited mindset about who we are as people, if we have a limited mindset about the skills, the abilities, the capacity that we have, now all of a sudden, we're going to talk mentally to ourselves, mentally, right, in our head. We're going to be giving ourselves that negative pep talk, and that's going to really, really, really impact our ability to go after those situations and those scenarios, that job, that relationship, whatever it is that we really, really want. So rewiring your brain and developing a more positive, more growth mindset starts with the conversations we have with ourselves. Now, this is so hard. I can give you a perfect example. When filming these YouTube videos, I've just been at this not very long now, and every time I do a take, if I do a take and it doesn't work out well, and it's funny because I see this happen in other videos that my company works on as well, but when I do a take and it doesn't work out well, there's this little voice in my head that tells me, ugh, that was horrible, right? And then I push the record button and I start again. And then there's I do it again. 3rd, 4th, 7th, 12th, however many times it takes me, right, to get it right. But every time, if I'm not careful, there's a little voice in the back of my head that's telling me, oh, you suck at this. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, who's going to be interested, right? These are the types of conversations that if we're not very careful, we're going to get stuck talking to ourselves like this in this negative way. And it's like a booing section in your brain every time you try to do something. And if you allow that to continue, you're setting yourself up for failure, because at a certain point, you're either going to lose the energy that you had to create the piece of content or go after the relationship or the job or whatever it is, right? To go after excellence, to go after success. You're going to lose the motivation to do that because you've got all this negative junk in your head telling you that you can't do it or you suck or whatever, right? So the second that you hear that, it's important to write over that. Imagine those old school CDs back in the day, right? When we used to burn music onto a CD. And for anyone who's listening to this, who's young, who doesn't know about that, it's like having space in an MP3 player, like an iPod or on your phone, right? You only have 16 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes. You take too many pictures, now all of a sudden you have to start deleting pictures or deleting apps to be able to get those new apps on. So we have to actively go in there in our minds and delete that old garbage, and as it's coming in, rewrite it and put positive stuff in its place. Now, it takes a level of awareness, right? It takes a level of actually just being quiet enough in your mind to analyze, okay, I'm starting to talk negative to myself. I've got to turn this around. So when you think, let's say you're going to do something. Let's say that you are going to, whatever it is, write a paper, apply for a job, go for an interview, right? The first or second interview might be a little tough. You might stumble over your words. You might get super nervous. Your palms might be sweaty. You might, start sweating. You might, all these different things might happen, right? When you start filming YouTube videos, you might be stuttering. You might have all sorts of different problems in the process of shooting that YouTube video, or writing the paper, or talking to someone, right? But if you allow yourself to say negative things about yourself, you're not going to continue going on with as much fervor and as much excitement as you did when you went into it. So to hack it, to make sure that this doesn't happen, when you start hearing something in your head, right, that you're telling yourself, you need to take a second and just rewrite that in your brain. Now, different people say different things. David Meltzer, and not just David Meltzer, but other people have even said, you say like cancel. You say the word cancel. And sometimes people even say that word out loud to really, really mark it. Cancel. I want to get rid of that word. or that phrase or that thought that's going to my head. The problem for me with this is when you say the word cancel out loud, not only do you kind of sound a little crazy, but you're acknowledging that word and you're not really writing back over it. You're just saying a word to negate it. And that for me is not as powerful as actually putting a different word or a different phrase or a different thought in its place. So if I think to myself, oh, I'm stumbling over my words, I'm not really eloquent right now, I can't do this, instead of thinking that, I say, no, wait, I can do this, I've done it before, I need to be more focused, I've got this, right? And I start there, I start with that. So rewriting those things and actually putting new content in its place, new mental images, new words that are in your head, instead of just trying to delete the old stuff, is super, super powerful. So that is one of my biggest tips. It's something that I have personally felt is very, very impactful and something that I hope will help you guys as well. We're going to be covering other topics in other videos, so I'd love to have you along for this little mini series that we're going to do on mindset. But if you like this video, please let me know, smash the thumbs up button, give me a comment, and consider subscribing. We're going to be doing all of these videos, and I'm really excited to present this content to you. So have an absolutely wonderful day. Don't talk negatively to yourself and work on having that growth mindset. We'll see you in the next video.